Hi everybody, I'm Amanda Boyd with Impact Training, and today we're going to talk about calories. Dun dun dun. I know it's boring and it's horrible and you know everything there is to know about it, but stay with me because I have a very important question to ask you, and I want you to take out a piece of paper or a sticky note or write it on your hand, whatever you want to do, but I want you to write this question down and I want you to really think about it because it's a deep question that you're going to have to ponder for minutes on end. And the question is that I want you to ask yourself is, do I eat enough calories? Now, before you answer, oh, of course I do. You know, I have a great lunch. We always go out to dinner, or I cook meat and potatoes every night. I still want you to ask yourself that question. And if you truly believe that you do eat enough calories, then I want you to do a follow-up question. And this is where we get really, really deep, is that if you eat enough calories, why are you not to your fitness goal? So if you're a person that's wanting to lose weight, or maybe you're wanting to gain lean muscle or size, or, do an endurance event, why are you not at your goal so far? How long have you worked for it, and why are you not there yet? And does it have anything to do with your caloric intake? So your wheels are a-turning. And that's what this topic is about, is what happens to your body when we don't have enough calories. So I love history stuff, but I'm not a history buff in regards to how the nutritional information of our society came about. But for some reason, we have two numbers that stick to our heads. And that is that women should only intake 1,200 calories and that men should be about 1,800 calories. So I want you to write those numbers down. Again, on your hand, on your forehead, I don't care. Preferably not on your forehead, but write them down. Women at 1,200 and men at 1,800. Okay, I'll give you a second. Take some time, I know. And then I want you to cross them out, and I want you to never, ever, ever think of those numbers again. The USDA of 2015 has told us that for women in a sedentary state, sedentary meaning they don't work out and they don't really move, except for their daily lives, sedentary states meaning sedentary, that their intake for women should be anywhere from 1,800 calories to 2,000. 1,800 to 2,000 calories. 1,800 to 2,000 calories a day. For men, it should be somewhere between 2,200 and 2,400 calories a day. And again, that's at a sedentary state. So you put the extra stress of a workout onto it, and those numbers for maintenance go up. So it's quite a bit of jump of what we know. So again, I ask you to ask yourself, do you eat enough calories? So going back to those forbidden numbers that you are never to think about or write down again, that 1,200, I'm going to focus in on weight loss for a second. We'll talk about endurance and adding lean muscle in just a second. So what happens to your progress? What happens when you're not eating enough or not intaking enough in regards to weight loss? Well, we have these things called macronutrients. So you have micronutrients and macronutrients. Your micros are the smaller elements of food, so your vitamins and minerals. I almost said vegetables. That's not good. Vitamins and minerals. Then you have your macronutrients, where they're the mac daddies of your food. So those are your protein, carbs, and fats. And most of us know what those are. Most of us know how to read a label for those. But usually, if you are deficient at a high rate of deficiency for your caloric intake, or meaning that you're not intaking enough to support your system, then you're going to be at a deficiency for one or more of those macronutrients. So it kind of throws off the feng shui of what your body's trying to do, and then halters or inhibits you to get to that overall goal. So what if you were deficient in protein? Well, protein, we know, are the building blocks of our muscles. So that means that if we don't have enough to support ourselves, that we can't do cellular growth or muscular repair, and you can't add on that lean muscle. Now, lean muscle plays a huge part in raising our metabolism, or a term called BMR, basal metabolic rate. So while you're writing down all these numbers, which I know that you are for sure, write down BMR and kind of research that on your own later. It's a whole different topic, but basically, what the relationship is that the more lean muscle that we have, the more our body will burn in that metabolic rate. Your BMR will go up, meaning that the amount of calories that you burn by doing nothing increases. So that's the beautiful part. The more lean muscle you have, the more you don't really have to work hard to burn it. Okay? So with a lack of protein, that doesn't happen. So either your metabolism goes down, which we'll talk about in just a second, or it remains the same and you plateau. On to carbs. So if you have a deficiency in carbs, which you're thinking, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, of course I don't. I don't eat carbs. I take them out any time I want to lose weight. Again, I just drop my carbs and it's great. And Beachbodies are here and we're fantastic. But that has some issues, and we've all felt this, but feeling fatigued, you're extremely tired, you're cloudy in your head. Carbs are your brain's food source. It is the fuel to your brain. So if you want to think and have energy and carry on a conversation and be able to get your work done and pay attention at least, then if you can't do that, then you could have too low of a carb intake. So which is not very good. The other part of that is fats, which again have been bashed. We need a low-fat diet and all that fun stuff. Which, of course, if you were prescribed a low-carb or a low-fat diet, then by all means, I'm not a dietitian, so I'm not telling you that it needs to be a high-fat, high-carb diet or whatever. I'm just saying that if you're not getting enough, it could be damaging. So fats are great because they are our organs' insulation. They keep us warm. They help our immune function. They're related to our hormone productions and all that fun stuff. The list goes on and on and on and on and on about the benefits of all three of those macronutrients. That's why there are Mac Daddies of our bodies. So, what does this have to do with you? If your body doesn't have the proper intake, then it's all out of whack. One of those or multiple of those macronutrients are going to be in chaos. And that's when our body goes into a storage mode, or for some trainers they call it a starvation mode, where your body stores things. Not only does your body store things when they should be using things, but your body's going to look for a new way for energy, because it still wants to pick your arm up, and you still have to think, and you still have to drive your car and pay attention to your children and all that fun stuff, hopefully. So your body's going to get fuel somewhere because it's wanting you to stay alive. And so what the first process that it does is that it's going to pull from your protein. It's going to pull from those lean muscles, and it's going to use those or cannibalize or utilize your protein or your lean muscle for fuel before it will go for fat. So one of two things can happen when that happens, is that you can lose some weight, but you're not going to be losing fat. You'll be losing muscle, so you could shrink, and that's where we get the skinny fat. Or you're going to plateau and get nothing, and maybe lose some water weight, but then it'll stall out. So a lot of times that's how we know our bodies are losing fat versus just losing weight. The overall picture of what's happening in regards to that is that obviously if we're going to be utilizing our lean muscle for energy, then your lean muscle mass will decrease. Now remember that BMR little guy that you wrote down. If you didn't write it down or you're still writing it down, it's basal metabolic rate. If your lean muscle goes down, so does your metabolic rate, which is where we talk about you have a metabolic crash or your metabolism shuts down. There are ways to repair it, but ultimately what we tend to do is we diet down. We are a society that has dieted down for years. We crash our metabolisms, but we feel that whenever we're ready to bring our metabolisms back up, it should be good to go. Our metabolisms work on hormones and intake and food and all that kind of stuff. It's very scientific and everything. But anyways, what will happen is that you'll plateau. You won't be able to lose weight or even fat for that matter, and it's a hindrance. On the opposite side, those who are wanting to gain endurance or to gain lean muscle, yes, gaining size is a goal. That most of us that want to gain, we don't understand the principle behind gaining lean muscle and your BMR. So you add in, to gain, you have to obviously have a surplus, and it has to be the right amount, and it has to be all that fancy stuff, and the quality of your food, of course, is is very important, but that's like a whole nother series. So you want a surplus, but what happens when people want to gain is that they'll surplus and they might gain. It doesn't exactly work like that, but so they surplus their food, they feel great, they're stronger, they feel like they're getting leaner, and then it kind of stalls or shaves back off. Because as you gain lean muscle, that BMR metabolic rate goes up. So that means that you have a higher caloric expenditure. So that means that your surplus has to go up again. It works the same way with weight loss. Whenever you lose fat, not weight, when you lose fat but gain lean muscle, then you can eat more. And that helps with those weekend partiers, those ones that want to drink on the weekends, or you go on vacation or what have you. It's the people that are athletic and have an athletic build but can eat anything they want and not pay for it on Monday. Those are usually the terms that are used to describe those people. That person can just eat whatever they want and they never gain a pound. Yes, but if they're athletic and they have lean, a solid base of lean muscle mass, then their body knows how to metabolize that fully, and they don't have that extra weight gain. They don't have a reason to gain it. It's those of us who are at an extreme deficiency where your body is trying to figure out how to regulate, how to stay alive. It's basically fight or flight. Am I going to live? Am I going to get fed today? What am I going to use for energy? That ends up those weekends of parties or that drink or that dessert become basically a storage section. So that's how calories. Again, I ask you, are you truly eating enough? And if you want to find out, track your food. You can write it down. There's a great tool called MyFitnessPal, which is what I have all my clients use, but there's millions of ways to track it. Fitbit tracks it. I mean, just anything, really. So I would track your food and kind of see where you are, but it goes back to, if you're not getting to your goal, if you're struggling and hitting your head against the wall and thinking, I just can't do this food thing, there's too much, start at the basics and ask yourself, are you intaking enough? Are you getting enough fuel and enough energy to support what your goals are? Thanks so much for watching our little video. Again, I'm Amanda Boyd with Impact Training. Keep your eyes peeled for our next one, which will go over how to calculate the calories that you need for weight loss. Have a great day.